Hello everyone, and welcome to the lecture on while loops in Python. In this lecture we'll see how to use while loops. So while loops are used to execute statements, and as long as the given condition is true, it will execute the statements. Let's see a simple example of while loop. When we use while loops, there must be an initial condition, or a condition has to be initialized. So let's say we have a variable x and we'll set it to be equal to 0. So we can say while x is less than 6, let's print x. So in this simple example of while loop, we first initialized our condition, which we set x to be equal to 0, and then we said while x is less than 6, print x, and then we'll say x is equal to x plus 1, x plus equal 1, which is the same as x is equal to x plus 1. So let's print the statement. Let's run it. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we initialized our condition. Then while x is less than 6, print x. So first x is 0. So 0 is less than 6. So this statement, that condition is true. So it will print the value of x, which is 0. And then next it says add 1 to the value of x. So 0 plus 1 is 1. So it goes back to the while loop. While x is less than 6, 1 is still less than 6. So it will print 1. Then add 1 to our current value of x, which is 2. Then it keeps on adding 1 every time it goes in the loop. And finally, when we reach 5, 5 is less than 6. So if we print x, that will be 5 is printed, and then add 1 to 5, which is 6. Then when it goes to the while loop, it says while x is less than 6, 6 is not less than 6. So it will stop executing the while statement. So it's important to initialize our condition, and also it's very important to have this checkpoint after the while statement. What do you think will happen if we didn't have this last statement? X is equal to x plus 1. So what will happen in that case is that 0 will be printed out indefinitely, because the initial condition x is equal to 0, right? And 0 is less than 6. So that will give us print 0. So it will be 0, and then again we'll go back to the while loop. 0 is less than 6, 0 will be printed. So we will run into what is known as an indefinite loop, infinite loop. So we have to be very careful not to run into an infinite loop. So that's how we avoid. So this statement avoids a condition known as an infinite loop. Let's look at another example. X is equal to 0. Then we can say while x is less than 8, we can say print x is, then we can format this, that format, and then we'll pass the value of x. Then finally we'll close out our statement. X is equal to x plus 1, x plus equal 1. Now let's run it. So we have x is 0, x is 1, x is 2, x is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We can format it this way also. We can also use if-else statements with our while loops. We could have said this also. Let's see. X is equal to 0. We could have said while x is less than 8, print x is, we'll format it again, that format, then we'll pass x, then we have our x plus equal 1. So this is the while part. Else we can say print, we can say x is no longer less than 8, less than 8. Let's run it. So we have x is 0. When x is 0, since x is less than 8, so x is printed. This statement is printed. X is 0. And then 1 is added, goes back to the loop. 1 is less than 8. X is 1 is printed. Plus 1 goes back to the loop until it reaches to 7. And 7 is less than 8. So x is 7 is printed. And then 7 plus 1 is 8. Goes back to the loop. It says, is 8 less than 8? No. So it will get out of that loop and then execute the else statement, which is x is no longer less than 8. That's what we have here. X is no longer less than 8. Okay, let's look at another example. Let's say x is equal to 8. We can say while x is greater than 1, we can say print x is, then we'll format it again, that format value of x, then what we'll do this time is x is equal to x minus 1. X is equal to x minus 1. Okay, let's see what we did. While x is greater than 1, print x's, then value of x. So our initial value is 8. 8 is greater than 1. So x is 8 will be printed. Let me run it and show you. X is 8 and then x is equal to x minus 1. So subtract 1 from the current value of x, which will be 7. Goes back to the loop. 7 is greater than 1. So print x is 7. Then take 1 or subtract 1 from the current value of 7. And then 6, 5 until it gets to 2. When we reach 2, 2 minus 1 here is 1. 1 is no longer greater than 1. So our while loop is terminated here. We could have added an else statement. So let me copy that, paste it here. And then we could have added an else statement. Could have said else print x is no longer greater than 1. So finally we have the else statement executed. X is no longer greater than 1. These are some examples of how we can use the while loop, and in the next lecture we'll continue with while loops. Thank you everyone.